Yeah, I'm Pops, and we're gonna do Tulsa King, episode 6. Now, I have been high on this show from the get-go. It's done by The Sopranos, Boardwalk Empire creators, Sylvester Stallone. Right out of the gate, came across as very believable as mafioso, right? Dwight the General, right? So we are now kind of like a little over halfway, right? I think there's 9 episodes in this first season. I'll have to verify that to be sure, but we have a lot of complexities now that are finally building of this guy, this veteran. And if you don't want spoilers, sorry, not the right video for you. You can come back. Below the playlist. The links are there. You can watch the other videos on the other episodes. I love your thoughts as well, what you think about this series, because I'm really enjoying the show a lot. So we have a couple of different subplots and storylines that move forward. So they really juggle a lot in this episode. I think they really did a good job coming off of episode 5, which I thought was great because obviously you had this murder of the guy that was abusing Dwight's daughter, right? Tina. So you have ATF still out there kind of monitoring thing. And of course, you have this biker gang thing with they're called the McAdams, right? Okay, so the episode kind of starts with the ATF stuff. We have the first part is the ATF. They have an inside source, right? She's playing the girlfriend of one of the bikers. He's kind of like the second in command of the McAdams group, right? And they're only looking at this from the point of view of guns. But she starts bringing up Dwight and the nitrous and the big fight that broke out and territorial stuff like that, right? And Stacy, who's the girl that has slept with Dwight twice now, right? Because she's sweet on him, and she's trying to put a little kibosh on this, but the partner's not having it. He calls the feds in. Of course, during this episode, the feds show up at Tulsa. They start raiding the pot place where they work, that kind of thing. They start doing all this different thing with the feds. Feds show up at Bodie's house, things like that, right? So, okay. You also have the mafia. You have like a sit down because in the last episode, even though Dwight may be morally justified to take out revenge on the man that is molesting or took advantage of his daughter at some point. I mean, she knew his nickname was the package for a reason. That was the joke, right? And Pete, the boss, really gets in his son's face. Son is Chicky, and is really, really rude about, you're not half the man he was. And it was crazy. It really, really was. And Dwight has a very emotional moment with Tina before he heads back. He did a really good job of trying to have this word of going, listen, and she's freaking out because he killed somebody, right? And he basically said, I didn't do this for my code. I did this because of you. My father-daughter bond, I couldn't look away. I had to do this. And I have to be honest, it was really good. I didn't exactly know how that was going to play out, and they didn't try to overreach and make it be like unicorns and rainbows and everything is good now and oh daddy and a hug and a kiss or anything like that. It was just okay, it moved forward. That's all we needed to see. Now Tyson, who is Dwight's driver, he got busted by the corrupt cops who were connected to the biker gang. So he shows up, picks up Dwight, and then you move along to, of course, Higher Plane, which of course has been raided by the FBI and that kind of thing, right? And you sort of have like all of the different stories are all moving along in this episode, and I think it's done really, really well, really, really well. Manny, he's got ties to the mob as well. He now works in a stable, and excuse me, he's connected to Dwight now, and the girl at the stable. I'm so sorry. Oh goodness, frog in my throat. Wants to sit down with the McAdams, right? So Dwight goes to meet. And this was so good because McAdams, you can tell, is sort of like the bigger fish in the pond in this area. So he has this like philosophizing type speech or whatever. And Dwight's like, yeah, that's good. No, we're not going to participate. We're just not doing that, right? And we're going to do what we want to do. We're not really interested in this, whatever. And he tells his guys, listen, it's bad math to go to war with these guys, but I'm not going to let them like one up me like that. Right. And it was really funny because, you know, Bodie's been raided. He thinks all the stuff is gone. The money's gone. And they they frisk him because he's been around the feds. You don't know if he's carrying a wire. And it was really funny and awkward. So they do a really good job of balancing sort of like a civilian in all this. Like Bodie has no idea what he's gotten himself into. Every step of the way, it keeps getting worse for Bodie. And he is like, it's done well. And of course, Dwight knew the feds were going to come. The money's safe. The weed is safe. Everything is fine. Right now, Dwight calls the concierge. So I want to sit down because he wants to clear the air. Right. He doesn't want to be having this like situation with the family hanging over his head because he did what he did. And, Goody goes to them and says, I'm going to go. Can I go? What do you want me to do? And they're like, we'll hear him out. So that will be in the next episode. That's teased. A couple other little stories that kind of play out. First off, I like the fact that when Dwight goes back to the stables, because there's this weird thing about the white horse that keeps showing up, and he has this coffee that he'll watch with his white horse. The horse's name is Pilot, and Pilot always gets out. It's kind of like a running gag in the show. And anyway, so he finds out that the horse doesn't show up, and they're like, oh, they're going to put him down. He meets this hot waitress. Well, the hot waitress turns out to be Sylvester Stallone's daughter, by the way. And it's not a bad scene with how he kind of navigates getting the horse and rescuing the horse. That is my voice, by the way, not the audio. Holy crap, my voice is not holding up at all. I thought I could make it. This is terrible. I'm so sorry, folks. McAdams is planning their attack on Dwight. The spy's kind of there. They're kind of catching on to some of that. You have the mob people are kind of after Tina, the daughter, a little bit. They beat up the husband. So that's gotten worse. And then there's a gun attack. Obviously, the bikers shoot the bar. And then Dwight and Mitch come out shooting, and they shoot Pike. He's the guy. And it kind of ends with them becoming business partners. And here's the thing. One of my objections to the show was it was very slow in world building. It was only centric around Stallone's character, Dwight. And they've sped that up. You know, we had episode 2 and 3. Don't think there was enough of this. But once you got to 4, the big nitrous fight, he brought Armand, was back. No longer Manny. I don't call him Manny, but Armand. All the other characters kind of move forward. The only thing that happened in this episode is Tyson really didn't have anything to do. He drove Dwight in one scene, I think, and that was it. Bodie really didn't have that much to do, but he had at least a good, funny moment and a good, relevant moment. But every little character is finally moving a little bit, and we're getting a world of characters that we care about, we're interested in, the subplots, things like that. And the intrigue and the stress keeps elevating up and ramping up for another episode and another week. And when you do a show, and the credits roll, and I have to stop myself to see what will happen next because it just starts playing, right? So I have to stop and make sure I don't see too much. All I know is it was Goody in Oklahoma. I'm like, I don't want to know. Stop. They're doing something right. That's what I hoped for when I saw the show. So I'm going to try to get my voice on track and record some more videos before I go on vacation. Tell me what you guys think about this show. I hope you enjoy it. Because I do. I'm down with some Tulsa King. So thank you. I'm Pop.
All I do is chill. My life is a thrill. For real, Bob Ross. I be too calm for the drama. You don't want to cause a problem. I'll solve it, Bob